Hey YouTube, Black Cat here, and today I'll be doing an update video on my Trickstar and Windwitch deck once again. I've made some small tweaks to basically boost the consistency level of this deck, and I'm pretty happy. I've already played test this deck quite a few times, and yeah, it's 10 times better than it was before, so let's get to it. Alright, so standard Trickstar engine, we have triple Trickstar Candina. When this card is normal summon, you get to add one Trickstar card from your deck to your hand, so you can search out Trickstar Reincarnation with it. And also you can inflict 200 points of damage for each spell or trap your opponent activates. Next up we got triple Trickstar Licorice. When each time your opponent adds a card or cards to his hand, you get to inflict 200 points of damage, and this includes his draw phase. So it's really powerful. And also you could quick effect, reveal. Target one Trickstar monster you control and bounce it back to your hand and special summon this card in its place. So if you had a Trickstar Candina normal, but if you had two of these, you could actually, maybe three actually, if you could reveal all of them, just target the one Candina alone, you could summon all of them at once. There was an argument once before that it was a once per chain, but apparently it's not, so yes, it is a legal move that you could pull off. Next up we got one Trickstar Lilybell. You really don't want to search this card out. This card is basically your one-upon of this deck. Whenever it's added to your hand, except by drawing, you can special summon this card, and also she has the ability to attack directly. And whenever she does battle damage, you can target one Trickstar monster in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. Alright, next up we got our Windwitch engine, triple Ice Spell. As long as you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then special summon one Windwitch from your deck. And also, once you do, you can also inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent. Sorry, the 200 is a force of habit thing. All right, next up we got double Glass Spell. When this card is normal or special summon, you can add one Windwitch monster from your deck to your hand. In which case, the one you really want to aim for is the one Windwitch Snowbell. You never want to draw into this card either. But essentially what it does is that whenever you use it for a synchro material for a wind synchro monster, that monster cannot be destroyed by card effects. So it's a really good way to bring out what people call the invincible Crystal Wing. Of course, it can still be Kaiju'd and it could still be Monarch Stormforth. So anyway, moving on. We run 10 hand traps in this deck actually. So like my ratio count for this deck is 23 monsters, but 18 spell and traps. Like I lessened the number of spells by 2. And it really has made a huge difference. So like now I can run this deck a lot more consistency, and I can draw everything I need and when I need to, you know. So anyway, triple Drone Lockbird. As I mentioned a bunch of times, one of my favorite hand traps, because whenever your opponent adds a card to his hand for the duration of turn, you can once you discard it, your opponent cannot add any more cards from his deck to his hand. So it's really excellent. Next up we got double Ash Blossom. Whenever your opponent adds a card to his hand or summons from the deck or even sends a card from his deck to the graveyard, you can discard it and negate one of those effects once per turn. So it's a really busted hand trap. But 2 is enough for this deck just because it doesn't really stop Pen Magicians, but Drone Lockbird can though. Like if you stun one of your opponent's plays and then chain it off with a Drone Lockbird, you pretty much just got it right there. Next up we got Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, a lot more meta relevant than before, thanks to the new format. Whenever your opponent activates an effect, or generally like you can discard from this card from your hand or tribute it off from the field and destroy that card. So it's a good way to bait out your opponent from using effects, and also like there are certain cards you just got to Ghost Ogre like right away, like Draconic Diagram, Spiral Resort. Or if I was trying to bait out like the Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon, like I activate an effect, let him negate it, but I will also Ghost Ogre it at the same time. Or use up, or trick out, what's that monster? Oh, Cyber Dragon Infinity. Force it to negate an effect, but also destroy it. That way it's off the field. That way your opponent can't take any more of your attack position monsters. But anyway, yeah, Ghost Ogre is just like very relevant in this format. Next up we got Double Honest. I know he's at 3, but I think 2 is the better number because, again, you want to try to stay consistent as possible, and 3 might just get a little too clunky now, so keep him at 2. Since all the Trickstar monsters are light attributes, you could just discard him. He gains attack point. Your monsters gain attack points based on the monster it's attacking, Does not target, by the way, and doesn't necessarily affect your opponent's monster. So for those who try to make that argument, and just give your monster a big power boost, you know. Next up, we got the one effect Veiler, and that's it for the monsters. It's really good in this deck, but I think one's enough because you already got plenty of stun. It's because Trickstars are more about stun more than just and stun and destroy basically, and you want to try to get rid of all your opponent's boss monsters before they have a chance to really like clear up your board, you know. And Effect Veiler, like what's that monster? Borreload. He can't be targeted with Effect Veiler, but you can destroy him using the effect of Ghost Ogre. Like I know you can't necessarily reflect. Actually, no, never mind. You can't because Borreload's effect says you can't respond to it, so disregard that. But you can still find a way to get around it. There's plenty of plays in this deck that help you deal with that problem. But anyway, let's just move on. We got Triple Life Stage. This card lets you search out any Trickstar monster from your deck to your hand, and also you can target one set Speller Trap on your opponent's side of the field and lock it in place. Of course, assuming you can respond to it. But at the end of the turn, if he can't activate it, he has to send it straight to the graveyard. So it's a really good card just to like watch out for those Solemn Strikes, or any of the Solemn cards in general. Next up, we got Triple Terraforming. I am able to fit in 3 now, thanks to the how do I say it? Thanks to the fact that I lessened the number of cards that I didn't need, and just like make this deck a lot more consistent. So yeah, like try to get like now I run 3, so no more 2, just 3. We still run this at 2 though. Double Potted Desires. Really good card. Just gotta watch out for Ash Blossom though, because like if you pay for cost and someone Ash Blossoms you, you can't draw your 2 cards. But generally, yeah, you banish 10 cards, draw 2 cards. You know, it's a high risk, but it's a high risk reward generally. Next up, we got Double Cosmic Cyclone. Pay 1,000 life points and banish 1 spell and trap on your opponent's side of the field. So, like, again, get rid of that diagram, get rid of the resort, get rid of any problematic field spell. Or, like, something that's continuous, you know, like Anti-Spell Fragrance, you can chain off of that. We only run 1 Twin Twisters in this deck now. We don't run it at 2 anymore. Only because I thought the Cosmic Cyclone is the better option. And plus, you don't really want to pitch up all your materials at once, so Twin Twisters is just now at 1, you know? Alright, next up we got Monster Reborn, Regeki, and of course, Darkle. So it's like I said in some of my other videos, just try to clear out your opponent's monster board as quickly as you can, and just try to keep them wide open. And now we only run 4 traps in this deck, so triple Trickstar Reincarnation, pretty standard. Banish your opponent's entire hand, and you can banish this card from your graveyard, and also revive 1 Trickstar monster from your graveyard. Next up, Solemn Warning. We're still keeping this, because like Solemn Warning is a good way just to stop, you know, 1 summon. And get your opponent to waste his normal summon, his pendulum summon, anything, you know? Alright, next, moving on to the extra deck, we got double Trickstar Holly Angel. Just requires 2 Trickstar monsters. And also, for each time a Trickstar monster is summoned to her link point, you get to inflict 200 points of damage. Also, this monster gains attack points whenever a Trickstar monster does burn damage, including herself, so really good. Next up, we got Trickstar Blackhead Bat. Does the opposite of what Holly Angel does. Whenever a Trickstar monster does burn damage, you weaken your opponent's monsters by 200 points. Until the end of the turn, of course. And also, if a Trickstar monster is destroyed on her link points, oops, sorry about that, your opponent takes 200 points of damage. And then we got 1 Trickstar Crimson Heart. Whenever a Trickstar monster is summoned to her link points, you gain 200 life points. Also, you can discard 1 Trickstar card, and both players get to draw 1 card. But if your points are higher than your opponent's by 2,000, you get to draw 2 cards. So it's generally like 1 day of peace, only you don't have that negative effect where your opponent doesn't take any damage. Moving on to our synchros, we got Old Entity Historia. Some things did have gone south before with my Windwitches, so like if people get rid of that glass spell, at least I can bring out this guy in place of Crystal Wing. He's generally Dark Necrofear. If it's destroyed by battle, you get to target 1 monster on your opponent's side of the field, equip it to that monster, and at the end of that turn, you take control of that monster. Moving on, we got 1 Windwitch Winterveil. Just because You gotta get a Crystal Wing as quickly as possible. Sometimes it's better not to use its effect, because, if someone has Ghost Ogre, they'll Ghost Ogre it, and you can't bring it back unless you're lucky enough to have Monster Reborn in your hand. So just go straight to our boss monster, Crystal Wing. We also run Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, and of course, one Trishula. And yes, Trishula is playable in this deck too. So I have pulled it off quite a few times, so I'll let you guys just do the math on that one. But anyway, all really excellent cards, and it's a good way to slow down your opponent. And then for our XCs, we got Baguska, Fairy Cheer Girl, just a free draw card, like detach one, draw one card. So it's just like really good. Tornado Dragon, another MST based card, detach one, pop a spell trap on your opponent's side of the field. Slacker Magician, which is pretty easy to bring out, depending on if you know what you're doing. And finally, Down Nerd Magician, which you could use Slacker Magician to summon with. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, moving on to the side, we have Triple Marsh Macaron. When this card is destroyed, you could just summon 2 more, and it does not have to enter the graveyard for that effect to result. And that's usually like my easiest way to bring out our Slacker Magician, but I won't get to that right now. Moving on, we no longer main deck it, we decided to side her again. Trickstar Narcissus, just a free summon if your opponent takes burn damage in general. And when I'm up against mirror matches, or if I'm running Blazing Mirror Force as a side, I'll run this Honey Water. Discard it, or only my opponent takes the burn damage, but not me. Because Honey Water protects you from burn damage for the duration of the whole turn. We side this now. We no longer main deck it. We found it to be a little clunky now, thanks to the new format. And again, Overtext Squatless, it has made things really hard now against dinosaurs. But Arrival Rivals, it's still a great card for this deck, it really is. But you just gotta watch out, like if you're up against dinosaurs, definitely play this, but try to bait out that Overtext Squatless, and don't recklessly use this, because if he negates it and you don't happen to have another one later on, yeah, that's gonna really hurt your play. So like, just watch out for those dinosaur players with this deck. We got Double Dark Room of Nightmare, just a good way to boost up the burn damage for this deck. So like, I figured why not. Double Strikes. Just, that way you can like get rid of like monsters from the extra deck that can't be destroyed from battle, like Beals. You don't want Beals out there, otherwise you're never going to get around him, because you have no way to banish it, really. We got Double Dark Bribe. I have seen a lot of players side out evenly matched, so when I side out, this is the card to go against that. Of course, it's good against anything, really. Your opponent, you can negate any spell or trap, but your opponent gets to draw 1 card. But if you have Licorice out, it does make up the fact that you could still burn him for damage, so like, there's a silver lining with that card. And finally, Double Blazing Mirror Force. I figured why not. I mean, the Trickstars are meant to be a burn-based deck, so hey, might as well just add insult to injury, right? Anyway, that's all I got for this update video. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll catch you on the next one.